We begin today with the biggest college football result of the long weekend. Colorado beating TCU at TCU in Deion Sanders' debut as a Power 5 coach. Wilbon, you were rooting for Deion.
Yep.
Your thoughts on what Colorado pulled off?
I got a lot of thoughts, Tone. You've heard them already, so now other people have to hear them because we texted and talked for hours during that game. Tony, rarely in my life have I rooted for somebody as hard as I rooted for Deion when I don't have anything at stake. No Chicago team, no Northwestern people. I don't know I do know Deion. You and I have known Deion for a long, long time.
Yes.
And we've rooted for Deion in other circumstances, pro circumstances. We know Deion Sanders. But, Tony, because of reasons relating mostly to race and culture and how they are affected by and how they affect college football in the southeastern quadrant of the United States, there were things going on that made me angry and made a lot of people angry and made Deion angry. And so it's not the game details, even though his kid played great and the other kid who's a beast who plays two ways, you and I marveled at that. That was all great, Tone. Hunter. But
Travis Hunter.
That was, Travis Hunter. Yeah. That was secondary to me. To Deion himself, because people sneered. People put nasty stuff out there. People went at Deion, and they went at him for reasons that go at a lot of us. People who look like Deion and me. And so I was crusading. I wanted Deion to win that game. I was nasty about it. And I'm nasty and strident and chesty, to use one of your words, about him winning. And I want him to win every week. And I told you last week, I'm rooting for Deion as if his last name was Wilbon. That's how personal this is to me. The great performances were the great performances, and it was cool to go back and forth and talk about those things as you and I did. But this other stuff consumed me, and it will consume me on Saturday when they play Nebraska.
So I don't really have to put out my credentials here. I've known Deion Sanders a long time. I've liked him for a long time. I covered him when he was with the Washington football team. He was great in the locker room. He's a great talker. He is unnaturally confident. So if anybody thought that he would be humble after this game, they have no idea who this guy is. He had every right to say, "Do you believe me now?" which he said about 10,000 times. Good for him. I understand and appreciate where you are on this entire issue, wider than Deion Sanders. I appreciate that. I looked at it differently.
Right.
I got on the game because you texted me and you said, "Are you on this game? Get on this game." So I watched the entire second half. I doubt I will be as entertained in a game all year as I was.
I agree with
by the second half of that game.
Unbelievable game.
Deion's kid was sensational. His accuracy was unerring in that game. The second half, Mike, as you know, both teams, TCU and Colorado, got the ball and scored. Time after time after time, got the ball and scored. And it was a wonderful thing to watch. The question now, of course, is it sustainable for Deion Sanders in his first year at Colorado? I don't know. You know who they have next. They have Nebraska next. This is so interesting. The two coaches who had the sort of biggest drumbeat before the season started, Matt Rule going to Nebraska and Deion going to Colorado, they play each other. If Deion wins that game and keeps winning, then at the end of the month, it's USC. They're ranked 22 right now in the new poll. Then it's USC, a game that 80 million people are going to watch.
I want to go to that game.
Oh, no, September 30th.
Oh, is it September 30th? Okay. I want to go and see that game, Tony. Tony, his son can make every throw. At least he made every throw in that game. The deep ball, the intermediate throw, the throw over the safety with touch, the stuff where he had to zoom it, short passes to his back. My God, Colorado's win wasn't the only eye-opening result of the weekend, though. Number 8, Florida State ran away from LSU, ranked 5th in the second half. Killed them, beat them by 21. And last night, unranked Duke beat number 9 Clemson 28-7. His first win over a top 10 team since 1989. Tone, which of these outcomes is the biggest deal?
So I will tell you on a personal level, I don't know which is the biggest deal. I was more surprised by Duke beating Clemson. Duke is not Florida State. Florida State is ranked 8th in the country. Duke's not ranked at all. As you said, they hadn't beaten a top 10 team for 34 years. They hadn't beaten Clemson in, I think, 19 years or 20 years before Dabo Swinney got there. So I mean this one was really, because I don't think of Duke as an ACC power, and I do think of Florida State that way. But the more stunning one for me was the way Florida State beat LSU. Mike, in the second half, at one point they had them 31 unanswered points, to the point where Brian Kelly said afterward, this is a total failure. And he said, on my part, on the coach's part, and on the players' part, a total failure. Mike, I learned this morning, that no team has ever lost its opening game and made the college football playoffs. Yeah. They are a recent thing, the playoffs. But does this mean that Clemson and LSU are out? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because there's other teams, Tony. There's so many teams we haven't even seen yet. Teams who haven't been tested yet because there was so little conference play. And it was week one. The Duke thing shocked me to the point. So I'm watching tennis. I'm locked in on tennis. Every tennis match all weekend, I'm locked in.
Right.
And then I see the score that Duke is ahead. Duke, my God, we play Duke in a couple of weeks in Durham. Duke won 9 games, though, last year, Tony. I saw Duke play in person last year, and I got an appreciation for what this coach does, what that team does, the difference in recruiting now, the philosophy. I see Duke. They play Northwestern most years, every year. I see them. I have an appreciation for how they're building. And still, like you, Duke is beating Clemson, really? So what I was expecting was Clemson to win a fairly close game over Duke. And, Tone, that game was weird. Like Dabo said, they turned the ball over 2 or 3 times, like inside the 10. And so it was a weird game, and Duke got on top of them and that last score just sort of nailed it. But look, Duke is going to be good. I'm not saying they're going to be a power 11-win team. Duke's going to win 9 or 10 games. They are.
There's something instructive here. Deion Sanders went into the transfer portal like he was buying groceries.
Yeah.
Texas State went into the transfer portal. They went to Baylor. They were a 27-point underdog. They won that game. Dabo Swinney said no. No. On the transfer portal. Maybe there's a lesson, Mike. Maybe you have to go to the transfer portal now. Maybe. We'll move. We move now to the Basketball World Cup. Team USA was beaten by Lithuania over the weekend, prompting people to lament the end of USA basketball dominance. But then this morning, the U.S. team pounded Italy 100-63 to make the semifinals. And guess who's out? Lithuania, after losing to Serbia. Wilbon, is everything back on track, or do you still have questions?
Well, everything is back on track, and I have questions. I mean, this is not new. Neither one of those results this morning over Italy or against Lithuania, neither one of those results sort of really should take you off what you believe about the United States men's basketball team. One, the players who ought to be the 2 best players of the generation and maybe the 2 best on the team, Zion and Ja. Where are they? Okay? You don't have a rebounding deficiency and as much of a size deficiency if Zion is on the court being what he should be after 4 or 5 seasons at 20, whatever he is now, 24 years old. So that, you got to deal with that. And I don't think you're going to have either one of those guys next year in the Olympics. Tone, the other thing, and you and I talked about this on your podcast this morning, the United States of America doesn't want big men because they teach them all to be guards. Everybody's 6'9". Oh, he can play like a guard. He can switch everything. He can play out on the perimeter. He can shoot the deep 3. So therefore, we have 2 generations of bigs now who don't know how to be damn bigs. We don't have bigs. They do other stuff. So blame the coaches and the culture and the evolution of the game for that's a real problem for us, and it's going to be a problem next year. I don't want to hear who might come out. LeBron can't save the day. Anthony Davis ain't going to save the day. We got a problem there.
No.
It's real.
No. So I said this on Friday. I'm going to say it again today. We should never lose any of these games. Other countries have 3, 4, and 5 NBA players. We have all NBA players at this point. Here's how it shakes down now. We will play, if I have this right, we will play the winner of Germany and Latvia. Yeah. I think I'm correct on that. I think so. Germany has Schroeder, of course. They've got Moritz Wagner, 2 NBA players. Latvia has Davis Bertans, who's a wonderful shooter.
And a couple other
Mike, we should win either of those games by 20 points. It should be it should not be within 20 points.
Germany's
now,
got size.
then we go
Germany's
to the finals.
big, and they can shoot it.
And if we're in the finals against Canada, I worry a little bit. Because I think Canada is a really good team. But I think that at the very least, at the moment, people can exhale for a little bit now. Because, you know, here's what the problem next year, Mike, is Antetokounmpo's going to play and not for us.
Yes.
Right? And Jokic is going to play and not for us. Embiid, though, might play for us.
Yeah, maybe.
He's allowed to, am I right?
Yes, he would.
I think I heard that.
By the way, he is told he could choose. Let me just say this real quickly. The best player on the court when we play Canada, and there are players like Jalen Brunson on this team I absolutely love. The best player on the court when we play against Canada is going to be Canadian, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. See, that kind of thing happens now.
Not Anthony Edwards. Not Anthony Edwards. Let's go to the big finish if we could.
Let's do it.
Lionel Messi and Inter Miami beat LAFC 3-1. I know you're impressed.
He's got 11 goals and 5 assists in the 11 games for Inter Miami. How can you not be impressed? Cooper Kupp was in Minnesota yesterday to see a specialist for his hamstring injury. That's concerning, isn't it?
Of course. He is a great player. And if he can't get on the field because of a hamstring, of course it is. You hear Minnesota, you hear medical, you
know what you
always think Mayo Clinic. Shohei Ohtani's agent says his client will remain a hitter and a pitcher going forward. Are you surprised?
If somebody else's agent said it, it might register with me. Shohei's agent, he works for Shohei. I give a damn what he says.
Right.
Nathan Eovaldi is back on the mound for the Rangers against the Stros tonight. Is that significant?
Yeah, so he's been out 6 weeks. He went out, he was 11-3, out 6 weeks. The Texas Rangers have suffered in that period of time. So if he's healthy, they're back to where they were first place team. Last one, Travis Kelce, your boy, hyperextended his knee in practice today. It is uncertain if he'll be available for the Chiefs opener on Thursday. Your thoughts?
I want to see him, but, you know, Mahomes has got a lot of weapons, and I don't trust the Lions yet. I want to sort of root for him as a good Midwest son of the Midwest, but
so you won't take the Lions in 6.5. You won't do that. We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knucklehead. Shout out Justin Steele, 16-3. He better be the NL Cy Young winner for the Cubbies, Tone. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.